serving troubled teens, which are generally more susceptible to gang life. And they're generally hungry because they come from poor families. And then also, because of this, they generally buy like Cheetos and candy and sugary processed foods. And this also leads to like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other health issues later in life. So what our solution is basically our program, which is WeCook, which is reinventing integrative cooking opportunities. And so what we're doing is not only are we providing them with cooking skills, because we'll actually be cooking with them, we'll be giving them a healthier meal, and then it's also in turn providing them with an activity, so they're not outside in the street doing this or that, they're inside doing something constructive. And then it's also teaching them how to eat better, and then we're exposing them to healthier food options or fruits, vegetables, and things that they might not even have access to doing.
And they're also gaining a life skill.
And they're getting this food.
Okay. Trying to think of the, I'm hearing two different outcomes as well. Like they're gonna learn how to, they're gaining life skill and learn how to choose better foods and also how to cook better foods. But they're also going to choose more healthy activities over unhealthy.
Absolutely.
Or a combination of long-term and short-term
Right.
outcomes.
And I think that's fine, but I think if you actually make sure you say it, you know, like that.
Better choices, life choices.
Right.
It's not, the food is a pathway to them making their life choices.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I think if you're direct with that, I think that could definitely work. You know, but be careful there because it might be a little big jump for certain people to like jump from big cooking classes into gang activity. You know what I mean? So like just make sure that you know that jump might be difficult for people, so that your supportive, your arguments is gonna support that. Which I got and I did. Right.
I mean, the biggest difference too is that people from the community are doing people in the community.
Oh yeah.
And so I think the delivery method is very different than what people.
Okay. I think it sounds great. That was very straightforward. That's good. Okay. All right. So actually, and before you move on here, so quickly, each of your slides, really, you should be able to put each of your slides in a category, right? In one of those three categories, what purpose does this information I'm saying, what purpose does it serve? Is it to, am I strengthening my solution, like am I rationalizing it? Is it to explain the situation? And if it is explaining the situation, how am I making it emotive, you know? So you do want to make sure that each of your...
Can you go back to that slide with the three that you said at the beginning? When you're saying the three, I just want to make sure I'm with you. This one. So every single sentence is
Well, I mean,
strengthening
every
one of
single,
those.
so the purpose of each, all your slides should have a purpose, right? And purpose broadly, they should be able to fit in one of these things. So one presentation method, not just for pitches, is actually to write in your notes like a headline sentence for each of the slides. You know, you don't have to do it here, but that's just one method. So here's our last principle, and just like all of them, very important. This one is practice fully. So when you're practicing, you got to practice fully, right? Have you all heard the term practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent? You all heard that?
Yeah.
Right. So if you're practicing something half-heartedly and incorrectly, then that's actually how you're going to present it, no matter what you do. So you want to actually give your best effort as often as you can when you're actually practicing. I love this quote by Alex Morgan, recent world champion. So keep working even when nobody is watching, and that's actually the most important part of when you're practicing. Is you got to keep on doing it, right? And you got to practice. Here are some tips on how to practice. Actually, before that, quickly, I want y'all to think of a public speaker that you admire. It doesn't have to be anybody famous. It could be a professor you admire, a high school teacher. It could be a colleague or a coworker that you think just is a great public speaker, and you've seen their keynote or something. I think they're really good. Or it could be somebody on the screen. So think of this person, and I recently read an Ira Glass quote. Ira Glass, he's the creator of This American Life on NPR. famous radio personality, an excellent communicator and public speaker. He had a quote when people were asking him when he was an up-and-coming storyteller, really. And he says that what usually gets people into creation and art is they really like that art and they have good taste for it. So they want to actually impact people in the same way that the artist has impacted them. And the trap that people fall into is when you're practicing, when you're doing your work, is you'll come up with something and you'll compare that work to somebody else's masterpiece. So you'll do something and you're like, well, that's not very good. You're saying it's not very good because you know what very good is. You know what a very good public speaker is. And that can be very discouraging, no matter what art form you're doing. It could be music, could be anything, really. And that's the trap people fall into, and they usually they quit and they give up. Because they're judging their beginner's work to a master's masterpiece. And what you're not seeing is you're not seeing their mistakes. You're not seeing their practice sessions. You're not seeing their rehearsals. So whoever you have in mind for a public speaker, I don't want you to emulate them. I want you to emulate how they got there. You know, the rehearsals, that's what you should be thinking about, and that's what you should be judging yourself against, right? It's just the volume work that you're doing. Y'all are actually fortunate because you have a deadline for this. You can actually say, I have 35 days, right? I only have, but in those 40 days, realistically, I can only practice 3 times a week. So you can actually like count down the hours and how often you have to practice. And that's actually good because that focuses you. Here are some tips on how to practice. Right at the top is record yourself on video. Thank you so much for recording this on video. Y'all are about to record on video once again. I record myself on video. You want to record on video and practice out loud. What we usually do when we're trying to memorize a speech is we read it, but we're not reading it silently. You know what you do when you're actually reading something is you're becoming a better reader, right? Or you're becoming a better memorizer. You're not becoming a better speaker. You have to speak it. You have to speak it out loud. And when you practice it fully. So even when you're making a mistake, you don't have to start all over. Just muscle through it because you're going to do that on stage. You're not going to start completely over. So even when you're practicing and you make a mistake, just keep on going. Just keep on going. So you're practicing those good habits. If you have time, practice in the actual setting. Make sure you rehearse it without the text. And there's actually an app that I'm going to, well, maybe in a follow-up email, I can make sure people have them downloaded. But it's called, I use it, there's a few dictation apps, but the one I use is called Otter, and it's free, O-T-H-E-R. And what it does, it just transcribes what you're saying. And it's insanely useful, because when you're speaking and when you're practicing it, to actually see what the words are listed as, and see if you have the word fillers, to say like, you know what, like I didn't realize I said that. It doesn't really make much sense, like how I'm saying it. So it's very useful, just using an app. When you're practicing, stand up and move around. This is your time to test things out. You know, like to try to test out your different hand movements that you want to use. 4, practice your pauses. All right, we're wrapping up. So with some fun facts about public speaking. First is, can y'all see that?
No.
It's not a very good slide background, is it?
No.
So these are these are 2 lists. One is filler words to just get rid of in public speaking specifically. Those are I mean, you know, like, okay, so, totally, and right. You want to minimize the other list. Like I said, you see, well, tell me something, by the way, so basically I mean, wow. So those are more like crutches. So you can say them, but like you don't want to say them too often. And then there's some stuff on stage fright. I've seen different numbers thrown around, but a lot of people get stage fright. Some level of anxiety when they're about to speak publicly. And usually, people like they observe this in different ways. I've seen it all. I used to host MC open mics for years. The most common one is shaking voice, shaking hands. Before that, people are usually sweating. People get really sweaty palms. And the best way to actually get through this is to make sure you have a thorough understanding and knowledge of what you're about to say. Rehearse it over and over and over again. Practice in front of people. Look at yourself. Like in the video, when you're actually looking at yourself, it's amazing how much that does. Like looking at yourself and actually practicing it completely. It's you actually do want to clinch up more. It seems counterintuitive. But if you can do so, if you know yourself shaking a little bit beforehand, you actually do want to kind of clench and like release. Just kind of like do that, kind of relieve some
Like
tension.
squeeze your butt.
Squeeze your butt.
No, I'm serious. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Just like,
Squeeze your butt.
and it also kind of forces your posture to improve.
Exactly. So those are good tips. Breathe deeply, and also very important, you don't want to sit in the audience for an hour and then not speak to anyone, and then get up on stage and speak, frog in your throat, right? So you want to make sure that you speak a little bit beforehand, so you feel the resonance of your voice. Or if you're walking up, what I usually do is hum, to get the tone of your voice a little bit. If you can't speak, then hum. Some more facts. So the average person speaks 120 to 140 words per minute. TED Talks, they speak 163 words per minute, so you can do the math on 5 minutes and how many words you should probably have for that, if you want. So 200 words per minute, that's usually comes off as nervous or overly excited. The faster you speak, people actually, they'll think you're more of an expert. The slower you speak, you're more trustworthy. So it's a balance. So if somebody you're speaking too fast, you might know what you're saying, but they might not really believe you if you're speaking way too fast. And it's just like a balance, and the inverse is true as well. It's just a natural human tendency for that. And facts are 20 more times likely to be remembered as part of the story. So if you can interweave the story part of it with any sort of fact, people are usually going to remember it a little bit better. The most important fact of them all is they're rooting for you. I'm not joking. Like, they want you to do well for a lot of different reasons. They don't want you to fail. They're rooting for you. So don't picture anybody naked, right? Picture for them clapping for you, rooting for you, like through all your mistakes, because that's what they're doing. If y'all have heard of mirror neurons before in your brain, right? So it's we have this natural innate tendency to actually feel what we believe other people are feeling. So if somebody's feeling anxious, I'm going to feel a little bit anxious. And I'm sure we have all experienced that before. If you've gone to a show or something, you're in a TV show where you feel the person's like shame and embarrassment or whatever. And that's actually innate in us. So they actually have a physiological incentive for you to do well. Like literally, like they want you to be happy. They want you to do really well. The better you do, the better they're going to feel too. So they're rooting for you, 100% rooting for you. One tip I forgot to mention on videotaping yourself. So one thing you can do if you videotape yourself, you can look at it, and you can look at it in different ways. You can fast forward it. So if you're videotaping yourself and you're walking around, you see this back and forth, you should probably pace yourself and slow down, right? Or if you're fast forwarding it and your hands are just kind of doing this, and there's no other movement. I had a professor, he was kind of like a raptor arms.
That was my first year teaching. So I saw a lecture of myself because I teach college too. I never moved my elbows. They were always glued to my sides, so I did this a lot. And I was horrified the first time I saw it, but I stopped.
So those are things that you can actually pick up on if you video record yourself, and it's really good.
And if it helps too for the setup of the room, just to kind of give you an idea of what you're going into. So Yesenia is going to be our timekeeper, so you will see her sitting with the judges up front. She's super nice. You can make eye contact with her. She will nod and smile and like encourage you to do well. Vipra or I or both of us will be at a table towards this front too. And we can, if you tell us, I want you there nodding and encouraging me, we'll be like, yeah, we can totally do that.
Too.
If that helps, yeah. If it helps, like we will totally be up front, ready to help cheerlead.
Has everyone seen the room?
You can try it. They might be having an event today, but yeah, it's the big room that's over here. But it's a pretty room. It's big. But
like double the size of this room.
yeah.
But people are down low, you're on stage.
You're going to be up on a
You
stage.
kind of have a physical presence.
Yes, definitely have a physical presence. But you'll have friendly faces. You'll know where your team is sitting. It's going to be round tables around the room. Before you get up to speak, Vipa or I will help you get mic'd, I think.
Yes.
So you'll have some time to connect with us, you're not just gonna like jump up on stage. So you'll have some familiar faces around you to help you with getting ready. And then I just really wanna emphasize rehearsing too.
Right,
That's
and
a
we
big
do
thing.
have an extra room the day off, so the Joshua Tree room, which is on the right hand side, that's just for you. So you can de-stress, you can practice, we'll have some beverages there, so you can come out of the big room
Agreed.
whenever you need to.
Yeah.
Just de-stress, we'll be around, and then come back in to put your idea.
Yeah. So, but just practice, I mean, I had people last year telling us like, my cat has this memorized, cause I just practiced doing it to my cat.
Right.
If you're worried about making eye contact with people, a trick that I use is, I look at people's foreheads right here. It's kinda messes with them if you do it for too long, but it's a good way of looking around the room and connecting without, you know, kind of getting like, oh, who is this weirdo, you know, like, getting too stuck into it.
And thank you for that, because I actually
Yeah.
did miss talking about that,
Yeah.
eye contact and pauses. So eye contact and pauses, you can actually even think of those as like a word. If you want. If you're not uncomfortable with making eye contact, you know, it can be, it's like kind of like an exclamation point, you know, or it can be you finish your thought there, finish your other thought. And the thing with pauses is a pause is a word. A pause is an exclamation point. You do want to use those, and you typically want to use those when you are the points to where you want to make an impact. It's literally an exclamation point. You're not yelling. So if you think one of your facts is very emotive, and it's, you know, give the audience some time to actually reflect on it.
And just practice speaking is the big thing too, not just reading, just to learn how to breathe through it. This was something my husband does some screenwriting, and comparing writing, we learned very on, like, people speak differently than you write. And so if you're just writing, and then you have a super long sentence with many commas in it, you're gonna have trouble breathing through that while you're speaking. So writing your pitch as though you're going to be saying it out loud, not for an article or a publication, you know, something.
Or I would even just say, just speak it.
Yeah.
You can write it and then speak it, and like I said, you know, get an app that actually dictates it for you. If you need to see it written, then that's what you do, because you're 100% right. So with that, I do want to give people some time to say their pitches. We're not gonna have much time to do any feedback.
Right, well, yeah, we'll do a little bit, and if people can stay a little bit later, we can too, but if anybody has to leave early, why don't you go up first? So, you know, does anybody have to split super quickly?